Uh, Good evening, everybody. This is Momita from IndiKI Foundation, and I have Sadhvi Jogi with me, my colleague in IndiKI, and we are proud to have Aditi Shah today with us. She is visually impaired, and she is associated with Microsoft. So Aditi will introduce herself, and will take over the session now. And I'll keep all the candidates in mute mode, and after Aditi speaks, I'll keep it open so that you can ask your doubts or questions one by one.
ब्लाइंड विदेश में होकर पढ़ सकूं
So Aditi, you can start now.
Yeah. Hi guys. So I'm Aditi, and let me start with my story, my journey so far. So I was 11 when I was diagnosed with a degenerative eye condition called retinitis pigmentosa, and um, over the next 3 to 4 years, I lost most of my vision. So that's how I got into learning all the assistive technology, like JAWS and NVDA and Open Book and things like that. Um, then I did my BSc in Information Technology from University of Mumbai. Um, After doing that, I realized that um, you know there was not enough um, that was not enough for me to find a great job. So I started pursuing my MSc in information technology, and in the meanwhile, I also started working with a data security company in Mumbai called Erat Software Consultants, where I worked on a privileged identity management solution. So basically, I was engaged as a software engineer. Um, so after that, and after I completed my MSc, I continued working for another 3 years, and that was a span when I really, really, really got interested in cybersecurity. So I just thought that now is the time for me to go back to school and specialize in the field more. So I applied to a few schools in the US, and I made it to one of them. So I went to Georgia Institute of Technology in Atlanta, Georgia, in fall of 2018. There I studied for 2 semesters. Then I did a summer internship with Microsoft as a software engineer intern. And then I went back to school, did one more semester of my master's program, graduated last December. And yeah, then I came back to Microsoft last month, and I'm at Microsoft. I'm working with Microsoft Security Response Center, which is a team basically that handles all the security vulnerabilities in different Microsoft products. So here I'm doing more of a data science role. Um, so my job is to apply machine learning and AI technologies to their security data and get them to be more proactive with their security as opposed to being more reactive. Um, so yeah, that's my journey so far. Now let's talk about what was the process of actually applying to schools in the US, and how was that entire journey, so that some of your questions might be answered by default, and then we can go into questions that you might have apart from the things that I spoke about. Um, so, um, So when you want to apply for a master's in the US, you need to give two exams. Now, masters, I mean masters in science. If you want to do a non-STEM course, you need to take another exam. So for STEM courses, you take graduate record examination, which is GRE, and test of English proficiency as a language, which is TOEFL. So you need to take these two exams. Basically, apart from all the other things that you have in your profile. So basically, when you think about applying to the US, the first step is to take these two exams. Again, from a visually impaired person's perspective, um, the exams are really accessible. They have good enough accommodations. Both these exams are offered by Education Testing Service, ETS, which is an American agency. Um, Now, both these exams are very accessible, but you need to apply for accommodations. And the accommodations process itself takes 6 weeks to approve. So basically, you need to submit all your disability related documents and they'll verify and they'll make sure that you're eligible for the accommodations. So that process itself takes 6 weeks, after which you can schedule your exam and take the exam. Again, the exam can only be taken at a very few centers in India, including like Mumbai, Chennai, and I think a couple other big cities. Though like GRE and TOEFL for a regular candidate can be taken everywhere. For accommodations, you need to be able to go to one of these centers. Um, and from that point onwards, the exams are pretty accessible. They have options like exam in Braille format, or you can have a scribe, a reader writer kind of a thing. For people who are low vision, you can have magnified experience with the exam. People who are totally blind, the GRE exam is completely audio enabled. You don't even need a screen reader with that. They have their own talking software within the exam, which even describes all the images. So if there are some geometry questions, it would describe the images. In terms of the content of the exam, so TOEFL exam is totally English based. So it tests you on your English skills. So again, there are 4 sections there. One is reading, writing, listening, and speaking. So you're tested on all these 4 skills. The GRE exam has majorly 3 components. One is analytical writing, wherein you're given a discussion prompt and you have to write a short essay. So you have to write 2 such essays. Then there is the quantitative aptitude section, which is pretty simple, very basic mathematics. Like algebra, very simple algebra, very simple geometry, those kind of things. Then we have the verbal reasoning section on the GRE, which is more about your again your English skills. So you're given a bunch of reading comprehensions and you gotta answer those, answer questions based on those. There will be like complete sentences and find synonyms. So basically for that you need to have a pretty good English vocabulary. So yeah, so that's about the 2 exams. Apart from that, you need to have a statement of purpose. A statement of purpose is a essay of 1.5 pages where you talk about your own skills or your own journey so far, like what have you studied, why have you studied that, what do you aspire to do in the future, um, you know, why do you think you are a good candidate for the program you're applying to, um, what professors you would like to work with when you join that particular university, and things like that. So that's again a major component, and that's where you also talk about all your extracurriculars and all of those things. Um, then you need 3 letters of recommendations. For me, one of them came from my employer because I was already working, and 2 came from my uh, college where I did my undergrad and my master's in India. So it could be all 3 professors. If you're working, you can have 1 or 2 from your employer. So that, and your letters of recommendation basically talk about your strengths and weaknesses according to, you know, people who have worked with you, kind of a thing. So that, plus you need to submit all your mark sheets, like all your academic results from starting from class 10 to wherever you are in your career. So those are called transcripts. Then you also submit a resume, and you also mention all the other achievements, if any, if you have had any awards or any other achievements. You mention all of those. So this is all what's required from the application perspective. Um, and once you submit your application, the university takes like a couple of months or more to get back to you. So mostly the results from US universities come back by early March to end of April, when you come to know if you have been accepted or rejected. Um, and you know, from there, you, like, if you get accepted, you also have to accept, because it could be that you know, you apply to 10 schools and multiple schools accept you, so you have to pick which one you really want to go to, and you say you accept, and then you begin with the visa process. So before you begin with the visa process, when you accept your admission, the university will send you a document which is called the I-20. So the I-20 document basically mentions all the costs associated with your program. So it will have the approximate cost for 2 semesters, like 9 months of study basically. And what you need to do is, in your visa application, you need to show like, either you have, like, you need to have at least uh, one to 3 sponsors. So basically, the sponsors need to show proof of income that they are making that much money, or they have that amount of liquid assets, and all the like all the financial related things. They need to submit their last few years of income tax returns and things like that. So you need to have whatever amount is 9 months worth of expense, you need to have that much as liquid assets, and plus you need equal amount of fixed assets, like a house worth of that much money or something like that. So, or you can apply for an education loan of that amount, and you can show that. So all of that comes in your visa process. Once you are approved the visa, then basically you are eligible to come to the US and enroll in your master's program. In terms of the education system here, um, we basically have, so some schools have quarter based systems and some schools have semester based systems. So semester basically lasts about 15 weeks, whereas a quarter would be 8 weeks. So if you have semesters, you have like um, fall semester, winter, like you have like fall, which starts from August, ends in winter, like December. Then you have spring, which starts in January, ends in May. Then you have summer, which starts in May and ends in the end of July. So basically, these are the three semesters that you can have. Quarter system will have like 2 month chunks of it. You can choose as many courses as you want to take. Again, every program has their own list of required courses and flexible electives. So you can choose whatever you want that ways. And um, basically, it's a pointer-based grading system everywhere. So you graded out of 4.0 pointers. Yeah, and apart from that, you're eligible on your student visa. You're eligible for two types of work authorizations. One is called curricular practical training, which is CPT. So CPT is the work that you can do while you're still pursuing your degree. So you get 11 months of CPT. So if you do any internships or co-ops while you are pursuing your degree, you can use 11 months there. And after you graduate, there's another work authorization called optional practical training, or OPT. So OPT, every student who does masters in the US gets 11 months of OPT. Okay, so now this 11 months of OPT basically is when you can work um, as a full-time employee with any company related to your field of study. So if I've studied computer science, I can't go and work in a financial consulting firm, basically. It has to be relevant to what I studied. So once you get into that, um, then for people who have done STEM degrees, like people who have done MS in computer science or mathematics, or any related engineering discipline, you get another 2 years of STEM extension. So basically, you can work for 3 years after graduating on your student visa. So that's in terms of work authorization. So that's pretty much what you need to know in terms of the process, at least in my view, to decide if you really want to go to the US to pursue your education. Yeah,
हेलो
Yeah,
अदिति
sure.
मैम।
yeah, yeah.
मैम मैं ये पूछना चाहता हूँ, क्या मैं हिंदी में बात कर सकता हूँ आपसे? कोई
हाँ
प्रॉब्लम
हाँ
तो नहीं
हाँ,
है?
नहीं श्योर।
मैम जैसे मान लो मेरी फील्ड वैसे आर्ट्स है, मैंने आर्ट्स से ग्रेजुएशन कर रहा हूँ, बट मैं साथ में कंप्यूटर कोर्सेज भी कर रहा हूँ, तो मैं कंप्यूटर साइड में अपना करियर बनाना चाहता हूँ और कंप्यूटर्स में कोई डिग्री लेना चाहता हूँ यूएस वगैरह से, कोई भी अदर कंट्री से। तो क्या मैं अप्लाई कर सकता हूँ यूएस में या और किसी कंट्री में अपने डिग्री वगैरह के लिए या डिप्लोमा वगैरह के लिए?
तो मुझे बाकी कंट्रीज का तो इतना आइडिया नहीं है, बट यूएस के लिए आपको पहले तो 16 इयर्स का एजुकेशन चाहिए। तो अगर आप
ओके मैम।
खाली आपने सिर्फ अंडरग्रेड किया है, बीए किया है अगर, तो
यस मैम।
आपको मोस्ट यूनिवर्सिटीज के लिए आपको 16 इयर्स का एजुकेशन चाहिए होगा। तो आपको, क्योंकि नॉर्मली इंजीनियर्स अप्लाई करते हैं तो उनका 4 साल का डिग्री होता है। सो यू नीड 1 more year ऑफ एजुकेशन। क्या आप कंप्यूटर साइंस में अप्लाई कर सकते हो अगर आपके पास बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग बैकग्राउंड है कंप्यूटर साइंस का? तो हाँ, सारे यूनिवर्सिटीज तो नहीं, बट कुछ यूनिवर्सिटीज ओपन होते हैं। मैंने देखे हैं काफी लोग जो नॉन कंप्यूटर साइंस फील्ड से आकर कंप्यूटर साइंस में मास्टर्स करते हैं, तो अगर आपके पास इनफ बैकग्राउंड है या आपके पास रेलेवेंट वर्क एक्सपीरियंस है इस फील्ड में, आपने काफ़ी इंटरेस्टिंग प्रोजेक्ट्स वगैरह पे काम किया है, तो आप वो सब मेंशन कर सकते हो अपने एप्लीकेशन में।
ओके। और मैम जो टॉफल एग्जाम है इसके
Hi.
अंदर, मैम एक क्वेश्चन और है
हाँ।
मेरा अभी। जो टॉफल एग्जाम है इसके अंदर जो रीडिंग, राइटिंग और लिसनिंग होती है उसको किस तरह से हम लोग अटेम्प्ट कर सकते हैं? जैसे मान लो रीडिंग में रीड करना होता है, तो जिस बंदे को ब्रेल नहीं आती है, ब्रेल बहुत कम आती है, तो वो जो है स्क्रीन रीडर से रीड करके बता सकता है या किसी और सोर्स से? इसके बारे में
हाँ, तो एग्जाम कैसे होती है, तो रीडिंग सेक्शन में आपको स्क्रीन रीडर डाल के दिया जाता है अगर आपको ब्रेल नहीं आता। जैसे मुझे ब्रेल नहीं आता बिल्कुल, बिकॉज मैं लेट ब्लाइंड हूँ, तो मुझे ब्रेल नहीं आती। तो मैंने टोटली उसको स्क्रीन रीडर से किया था, तो मुझे स्क्रीन रीडर डाल के दिया गया था और वो एक वर्ड डॉक्यूमेंट में रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशंस दिए गए थे जिसके नीचे क्वेश्चंस होंगे। तो वो ये देखना चाहते हैं कि आपने उसको रीड किया, उसके बाद आपको कितना समझा, क्या
ओके
आप उसके क्वेश्चंस को आंसर कर पाए। तो दैट इज वन। फिर होता है लिसनिंग सेक्शन जिसमें आपको ऑडियो सुनाए जाते हैं
ओके
अलग अलग, जिसके ऊपर से आपको क्वेश्चंस पूछे जाएंगे, तो आपको कितना सुन के समझा वो देखना चाहते हैं। फिर
ओके
राइटिंग होता है जिसमें आपको ऐसे लिखने होते हैं किसी भी टॉपिक पे, और स्पीकिंग
ओके
स्किल्स होते हैं जिसमें आपको टॉपिक बताया जाएगा और आपको 1 मिनट का समय दिया जाएगा जिसमें आपको उस टॉपिक के बारे में ऑन द स्पॉट बोलना होता है।
ओके। और मैम जो मैथमेटिक्स का है, जो एक अलग एग्जाम है जेआरई, उसका क्या प्रोसीजर रहता है? यानी कि उसमें जो मैथमेटिकल कैलकुलेशंस वगैरह, सॉरी, मैथमेटिक्स के जो एग्जाम रहते हैं वो हम स्ट्राइप के साथ दे सकते हैं या हमारे को खुद ब खुद जो है अलग से देने पड़ते हैं?
सो दोनों ऑप्शन है आपके पास। आपको स्क्राइब के साथ देना है तो आप स्क्राइब के साथ दे सकते हैं, आपको कंप्यूटर पे देना है तो कंप्यूटर पे दे सकते हैं। मैंने कंप्यूटर से दिया था बिकॉज वो टाइम्ड एग्जाम है।
ओके
like आपको एक स्पेसिफिक टाइम के अंदर एक्स नंबर ऑफ क्वेश्चंस को सॉल्व करना होता है। तो बिकॉज मैं
ओके
कंप्यूटर्स के साथ ज्यादा फास्ट हूँ तो मैंने कंप्यूटर्स सिलेक्ट किया। आपको लगता है कि आपको स्क्राइब के साथ ज्यादा कंफर्टेबल होगा तो आप स्क्राइब के साथ भी दे सकते हो। तो आपके पास बहुत सारे अकोमोडेशंस ऑप्शंस होते हैं उसमें।
ओके मैम,
Okay, Chirag,
Hello.
can
सो
I
मच
ask
मैम।
one question?
Hello.
Yeah, may
Hello.
I
Yeah.
know your
Hello.
may I hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, just one second. Sorry for the interference. May I
I'm
know your
audible for
name,
you,
please?
Aditi.
Yeah, you are.
May I know your name, please?
Ma'am Kishore Kumar.
Okay.
Kishore Kumar.
Yeah, please go ahead, Kishore.
Aditi, I'm audible for you.
Yeah, you are.
Hello.
Yeah, you are.
Hello. So basically, I have a couple of questions in terms of English proficiency test and a scholarship. And the do you have any idea about IELTS in terms of procedure and in terms of accessibility for blind students? And I would like to yeah.
You're talking about the IELTS, right? The
Yeah,
IELTS exam?
exactly. So if
Yeah.
you have any idea.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of my friends have taken it. A lot of my visually impaired friends have taken it, and yeah, it is pretty accessible. They also have similar accommodations. So if you want to apply to say schools in the UK or schools in Canada, you normally take the IELTS. It's offered by I think the British Council or something like that. If for most schools in America, you do TOEFL.
So by the
Yeah,
way, if I
this is
want
Syed
to
Mushfiquddin, ma'am.
pursue my PhD, hello,
Hang on, yeah, yeah, Kishore,
hello,
continue. Yeah, Kishore,
Aditya,
continue.
please,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm asking that I would like to, actually I'm a student of masters in JNU. So I would like to my PhD further. So I would like to do that in abroad. So in that context, I'm asking. And if I want to do my PhD in Chicago University, So what should I do for first for English test?
So you mean like how do you prepare for it? Like how do you want to prepare for
It
your
and
exam or?
which examination I have to appear? Yeah.
So basically what you can do
Hello.
is you can go to that university's website. Um, if you want to do it from Chicago University, you go to its website and you see what are the requirements. Some universities do
Okay.
accept TOEFL or IELTS both, and depending on that, you can decide which exam to take. Plus, like if you want to prepare for TOEFL, there are there's like TOEFL official guide from ATS. There's the book, and
Okay.
there is also a MOOC, like an online course on edX, edX.org, for TOEFL
Okay.
preparation from ETS itself. So any of these two resources can work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello.
So by the way, how you're feeling? How you're feeling there? Hello, Aditi. So how
Yeah.
you're feeling there in terms of accessibility rather than India?
Accessibility in terms of the education, yes, it was better because by default here all the study material is electronic, especially like if you do a
Oh,
computer related course. So
that's
everyone studies
great.
from electronic material most of the time, so I didn't have that kind of issue. I had some issues with math and stuff, but definitely I had a much better experience than I had studying stuff in India.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of accessibility of the infrastructure, yes, it's a little better in terms of being able to walk around um, by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And like, again, it's just two different things. In India, you don't need to be like so good with your cane skills because most places you find people to help you. Um, like there are people around
Yes,
all the
exactly.
time. Here, there are
Yeah, yeah.
not so many people around, so you have to be really, really good with your mobility skills, which I'm still kind of developing slowly. So, yeah.
Uh-huh. So how the cooperation of teachers?
Yeah, I think Kishore, let's go on to the next person. You can email me if you have any further questions.
Yeah, this is Sai.
So may I take your mail ID, Aditi?
Yeah, I'll give it at the end of the
Hello.
session. Yeah, I'll give it at the end of the session.
Okay,
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I will call out the name of the
Okay, okay,
candidate
okay.
who has raised their hand. The
Yeah.
next is Shiv Mohan Thakur. Shiv Mohan, you can ask your question.
Yeah, hello. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I have a doubt like if an individual has a gap in his academic year, so because of some
Mhm.
like medical issues or
Mhm.
unawareness of anything,
Right.
if he have any gap issues in his graduation or
Mhm.
intermediate 12th standard, like
Mhm. So you can always explain that in
so,
your,
will he be
yeah, you can explain those things in your statement of purpose, like why was the gap and things like that. And I think some applications also have a different question on that, like they let you explain why you had to take a gap. Yeah.
okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks Shiv Mohan. Next is Timsi Agarwal. Timsi, you can ask your questions.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, ma'am, I want to ask, is this the degree can help someone to get employment in India?
A degree in the US?
Yeah, yeah. When we,
Yeah. So if you do it from a recognized university, like a good university, yes.
Mhm.
But
So it
I
can
would
help
still
us.
suggest, yeah,
It can help us to get employment in India.
yeah. I mean,
So how
see,
can it?
finding employment is nothing to do with degree.
Mhm.
I don't know what kind of degree you're talking about, but
Masters,
um,
about masters
in what?
and like master in commerce and at, in any course.
Yeah. So I think finding employment is more to do with your skills than to
No,
do
just I'm
with your
asking about like
degree.
eligibility. If we had
Uh-huh.
our masters from abroad, so it's like eligible for which companies we can apply this on this basis.
You can apply to any companies. Like job hunting is totally your responsibility. Like even when you study here, all you get is like career fairs. There's nothing like placements over here too. So basically, you have to send your resume to whatever company you want to apply for. That has nothing to do
Because
with where you
okay,
study and what you study.
okay, so but because whenever I seen, so the
Hmm.
most of the companies just demand for you have completed your masters. So I think it doesn't matter you did it from abroad or India or somewhere else.
Yeah.
So that's I'm
I
asking
don't
that.
think you should do a master's from the perspective of, fulfilling that check mark, um, to get a job in India because a master's in US is a very expensive thing.
Yeah, so
Um,
that's what
so
I want to.
you
Like, what's a
shouldn't,
good benefit to do that?
sorry.
Yeah, that's what I want to know exactly. What is a
Mhm.
good benefit to do the masters from abroad?
I would say like only if you feel it will add to your skills. Um,
Hmm.
like like for me, I wanted to pursue, cybersecurity. So I came here, I did a MS in cybersecurity. I learned a lot, and that's what I apply at work. So if you feel
Okay.
you can gain enough skills from that, because it's very expensive. The to make that much money back in India, if you end up taking a loan or something like that, it would take you like many many years to pay the loan back.
Okay, okay, ma'am. And one more thing, you are working in US itself or in India?
Yeah, yeah, I'm working in USSR.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank
Okay,
you.
thanks, Team C. Next is Uma Shankar.
Hi, Aditi. Am I clear?
Yeah.
I think from the beginning of the discussion, we were
Mhm.
kind of concentrated on the science, the STEM part basically. So,
Mhm.
say people, students who are from social sciences background, say they want to go for masters in economics or anthropology, or even from masters from journalism or communication. So, how would that be? I mean, the kind of English proficiency, I think it would be same, but will it make any difference in terms of the examinations and all?
So non-STEM courses, like especially MBA courses, require you to take GMAT. I think instead of GRE. So that's the exam you take. You'll have to check. So basically, here it's not like arts, commerce, science. Like we have in India. It's pretty varied. You can still be doing a master's in economics. Like you can be doing like a MS in financial engineering, for instance. So you have to see what program you want to apply to, and you have to be able to, figure out what is required. So every program that you check out, they have their set of prerequisites. So that mentions which exam you need to take.
Also, this may vary from university to university.
Yeah, it varies from university to university. It varies from program to program. Even within the same university, two different programs can have different requirements.
Okay, so I just have one last question. So say a guy got a seat in some university in US. So what about the life in US? I mean, the kind of internships that we can get, because especially if you look at this kind of things in terms of Indian perspective, the internships and other things are pretty tough for a visually impaired guy. So,
Yeah,
how is it in countries like US?
I think people are more open-minded. They don't judge you by your disability, but then every person is different, so there is equal ignorance here as well. At least, like, only good thing here is that there is very strong laws against discrimination on basis of disability. So no one can like actually discriminate you, but yeah, like people are equally ignorant everywhere. So that is definitely there. And again, finding a job, finding an internship is all upon your skills, and how hard you try to find one, how many places you apply and all that. um, so it's a very subjective question. It's not like I can say that, hey, if you come to US you'll definitely find a
Okay,
job.
okay, so much.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hello,
thanks,
ma'am.
Uma Shankar. Next is Syed.
Hello.
Yes.
Uh,
Uh,
yeah, ma'am, this is Syed Mustafuddin speaking. Am I audible to you?
Yes.
Uh, Actually, now I'm pursuing English literature. Actually, I'm now final year in graduation. I'm
Mm-hmm.
to appear to an examination
Mm-hmm.
of our college. And now I want to, so actually I'm a social sciences background. So now I want to opt computer, I want to opt a career in computer in US as you. So where can I do my master's after graduation directly? Can I appear to GRE and TOEFL, or can I do master's there?
So you need one more year of education. That's one. If you're doing your BA, like I said, you need 16 years of education for most universities. And because you want to switch
Acha, acha.
streams, you will have to email universities and ask them if you're eligible. Again, like it's all specific to different programs. Um, so you will have to like email whichever course you want to apply to and ask them if they would want to take you in. And that's only going to be possible if you have worked on a lot of interesting projects and have a very strong work experience in computers.
Um, okay, and thank you for this. And the next question that I want to ask is, actually, you told that you opted for BSc in your graduation.
Right.
Actually, how it was possible to you? That means the practicality and the laboratories. Actually, how you did that? How you managed all those things?
So I did a BSc in information technology, so everything was on computers. So I didn't have to really mess around with test tubes and things like that.
Regarding the GRE and TOEFL, you said that education. What is the ETS? It is an
Yeah,
American agency. So
right.
how do they know that we are visually impaired? Of course, in an application, we will specifically mention that we are visually impaired. How
Mhm.
will they give an accommodation to us by providing the screen reader, and how will they reach us actually? So
So
what are
they
all the
have testing
opportunities
centers.
and
They just have testing centers in India. So basically, they coordinate with the testing center and they'll send the accessible exam to the testing center. So you just have to go to that center and give the exam.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks,
Okay,
Syed.
and the
Thanks
last
for the
question. I'm
question.
sorry, actually, I'm taking your no. Actually, I'm taking your time. Actually, this is the last question. Uh, so, what is a major challenge do you face regarding going to US and doing your masters in cybersecurity? Actually,
I think independent living is kind of a big challenge here because in India you can find domestic help to do a lot of things. Here you have to cook for yourself, you have to wash your own dishes, you have to clean your house. do your laundry, everything by yourself. So you need to be prepared to be doing that. So it took me a while to learn all that. Took me a while to be able to, walk around independently on a, like, my university had a 400-acre campus. So to at least learn to get to
Oh my God.
places by myself and those kind of things. Yeah, so there are some challenges that ways, but it's fine if you're ready to,
Yeah,
take
and
those things.
yeah.
Hi, can you guys hear me? Am I audible?
Yes.
So yeah, hi Aditi. So I'm from Chennai, and I've done my master's, undergraduation in economics. So I have two questions. So my first question is, so you talked about the mathematical, quantitative section. So since I have done my undergrad in economics, I have faced a lot of issues in accessing the mathematical material. So that's one of the things which stopped me from applying to abroad because of this issue. So if you could, give me some perspective on how to tackle this mathematical issue. Do we have any, any kind of websites or which provides accessible mathematical materials, or because I'm a totally blind, means 100%. So
Right.
I'm doing everything with the help of screen reader. So this is my first question. And my second question is, I'm trying to pursue my, I would like to pursue my master's in development studies, which is, just from social science background, very practical section of economics, you could say. So it delves into community development, urban planning, lot of stuff. So the
Right.
one of the problem which I'm facing here is I'm not able to get any sort of internship, or I'm not, able to do any sort of projects here, practical things to show. So when you apply for masters, these are one of the eligible criteria which I'm supposed to fulfill, which I could not. So I don't know how to tackle this as well. So yeah, these are my two questions.
Okay, so to answer your first question, well, I'm also totally blind, and I totally rely on screen readers. So there are a lot of online math-related MOOCs, again on Coursera, edX. I don't know if you know these websites. So there's Coursera.org, there's edX.org. We have done a bunch of videos on demystifying MOOCs, so you can listen to those. They're available on Radio Dance, Radio Dance YouTube channel, I guess. And there's Khan Academy, which has accessible math material to a large extent, at least the stuff that you'll need for GRE. And in terms of the exam, it's pretty accessible. So basically, they describe it to an extent that, say, there's a geometry question that find the area of this figure. So they'll actually describe that it's a right angle triangle. ABC, B and C is the BC is the bottom edge, AB is the left edge, and something like that. So it's pretty just kind of described in a way that you can imagine the figure. Plus, they give you like embossed figures to which you can feel and understand. And even the equations and stuff is all accessible on the exam. So don't worry about that. And to prepare, you can use the online resources like Khan Academy and Coursera and things like that. So that's that. And in terms of finding projects, I would really recommend to everyone, don't go for a master's back to back after your undergrad. Work for a couple years, gain relevant work experience so that you know what you want to specialize in, and then go for a master's. Like, don't just jump into it because everyone jumps into it. So if you work, you'll have projects to talk about.
Okay, thanks, Srilekha.
In computer science.
So for top tier universities, you definitely need like 320 and above. Like for very top tier, maybe like most people get like 330 and above. For
Okay, so maybe something like Virginia Tech or Georgia Tech.
Yeah, so Georgia Tech, so I scored 325, and which was enough for Georgia Tech. So for Georgia Tech, I think 315 and around that should be fine.
Okay, and
You'll be able to
just
find
last
those things
thing
on
about
Google, you know, if you'll Google those things, you'll be able to find like average GRE scores for a university. And again, it's your entire profile that matters and not just the GRE.
okay, just
Yeah.
one last thing. What is the approach of the employers like towards visually impaired candidates? Like, are they welcoming or are they hesitant?
So they don't discriminate on your face, like, you know, they won't say like because you're blind you can't be hired. They can't say that legally here. But yeah, I mean, it really depends on your own skill sets. There are some companies which are very inclusive, like Microsoft hires so many people with disabilities, and so is many other companies. Everyone has a lot of diversity hiring here, and so is the case in India as well now, with all the big companies. So definitely,
Yeah.
then it all depends on your skill set. So you'll at least get an interview. Then depends on how well you do there. They'll not judge
Okay,
you by your
just
disability.
okay. So sorry to cut it short. Just
Yeah.
yeah. So after your masters, do you have to get an H1B or you can work on a student visa?
So like I said, you can work on a student visa for 3 years. So in the meanwhile, you can keep applying for H1B. H1B is a very luck-oriented process right now over here. So there's a lottery that happens. If you get selected, it's totally randomized. So if you get it, you get it. So you get basically, if you're doing a STEM masters, you get 3 chances at H1B. If within that you get selected, then you can work for more years. Otherwise, you go back.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Akshay. Next is Saurabh Prasad. Saurabh, you can ask your question.
Okay, am I audible, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay, so my question is like after completing our undergraduate program or after completing our BTech in computer science, we have couple of options to do. So what I want to know is like if we want to really pursue with the studies, so what should we go for? Like MS, MBA or MTech? Like there are various conditions like financial background, because I was browsing through the internet and got to know that the total expenditure for doing MS in abroad is in the span of 50 lakh to 1 crore. So everybody can't afford it, right? So the thing is that depending upon all those parameters, just I wanted to know like what would be more worth it depending upon the if we are doing undergraduation from some top universities plus we have CSE background. So I mean, would it be good if we just prepare for the product based company that come in the final year, or should we go for the abroad studies? And if we plan to go, then what should we go for? I mean, MTech, MBA or MS? That's my question.
There's nothing called MTech here. It's all MS.
Okay.
And there's MBA, of course. I would still recommend working for some years if you, you know, because here, especially for computer science, I might not be the right person to talk about MBA or things like that. But at least for computer science related fields, when you do a master's here, you have to really pick a major, like, you know, what you are really good at. Like, say you want to do a MS in computer science with specialization in analytics or machine learning or those kind of things. Um, so basically, you need to know what you want to specialize into. Like, it's not a generic thing after coming here. And so I would really suggest like work for a couple years so you know if you are happy being in computer science or you want to go back to doing a non-STEM degree like an MBA. Again, finding a job after an MBA is very hard in the US right now with the current visa restrictions. So most people kind of go for STEM degrees.
Okay, that's it.
Okay, thanks, Saurav. Next is Deepak Dhokale.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Deepak. I am doing Master of Computer Application in Pune University right now. So my question is, what is difference in Master in India and Master in US, and what is the scope so between two countries? Uh, I have to.
You're not very
I have
audible.
to apply.
Let me answer your first question. So you're not very audible. Your voice seems to be kind of distraught.
Hello. And now audible.
Yeah, so I understood that you're asking what's the difference between doing a master's in India versus in the US. And is there anything else you want to ask?
Yes, I'm asking any in master of difference between in US and India, because there is US a very accessible study material, so it is very helpful because so blind person. So
Okay, I understood somewhat. Let me answer from what I understood. Okay, so difference in terms of like, so what I found is that here the education system is much more project oriented as opposed to theory oriented. So that was like the major difference that I found in studying in India versus in the US. There's a lot of things that are hands-on as opposed to, you know, just being taught to you conceptually. So you end up learning more. It is much more competitive. Again, I'm talking about the university that I went to. So here, like at Georgia Tech, anything below 80% is fail. So to pass a course, you need to score 80% or more. So it's very competitive. Everyone around you is going to be smart if you go to a good university. So you need to work a little extra hard and work from day one. It's not like, you know, you study just 2 weeks before the exam and you're good to go. So that was like one major difference I can say. Plus there's a lot of depth and breadth of things available. So if you really want to say specialize in cybersecurity, so you have like so many cybersecurity related courses at the university which you can pick from. So you can really specialize in something as opposed to like Indian masters are mostly very generic. Like you have, you know, bunch of 10-15 courses that you have to pass to get your degree. So that way is in terms of flexibility, it's really good. Accessible material really depends from university to university. Some universities are really good at providing accessible material. Some universities have no clue, like Georgia Tech. They know how to make math electronically accessible. They only knew how to make it in Braille. So I had a bit of challenge there. So really depends on university to university. So I would suggest before applying, reach out to the university's disability office and see what kind of support they have for the specific course you're trying to take. Does that answer your question?
Okay, thanks, Deepak.
You're not audible. I think you can email me your questions.
Hello, ma'am.
Ritik, you can ask your question, Ritik. Ritik, please unmute yourself and ask the question.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. I want to ask that universities provide the scholarship for courses like arts. Like I want to pursue my postgrad in political science. So universities provides the scholarships or not?
For masters, very rarely, very rarely. Plus, you know, you can get other kinds of things. Like, for instance, I didn't have to pay for my education at all because I got a research assistantship with the university. So if you get a teaching assistantship or a research assistantship with the university, you don't have to pay your fees. Plus, you get a stipend. Um, so really depends again on the program that you want to pursue. So if you look at the university, you'll get all the options of financial aid. Some people give need-based financial aid and things like that, but for master's program, it's very, very rare. You need to be prepared to be able to pay from your pocket.
Okay, thank
And
you, ma'am.
if you find something, that's a bonus.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ritik. Ganesh Reddy, you can ask your question.
Very good evening.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a few questions regarding the participants view. Actually, what are some sources to prepare for GRE?
For GRE, I used some books from Manhattan Prep, which are available on Bookshare.
Okay.
And that kind of covers most of it. Plus, you can, there are a lot of videos from different coaching institutes on YouTube. You can use Khan Academy, those kind of things. Like ETS itself has an official study guide for GRE. So you can take topics from there and then look for the content on internet.
If once we rejected, then after how many days we appear again?
So it's on days. It's like every year you can apply.
Okay, yearly once, ma'am.
Yeah, yearly ones.
But actually, why US is more mostly focusing masters in technology? What about other like language studies and all?
Because so like I said, non-STEM careers, like people who are pursuing non-STEM masters it's very hard for them to find a job for the simple reason that they get only 1 year of work visa. So no company wants to hire them because, like once you get hired, there are a few months in training and things like that. So people don't want to hire non-STEM degree holders from other countries.
As you are working in the master machine learning, how will be the future of the language learners? Because some
Sorry?
people, the people who are studying languages, in the future.
Languages and what?
As you're working on machine learning, what may be the future of the
Future. He is asking about the future.
Future who are studying languages?
Languages like which languages? Like normal languages, like English, those kind of
Like some
languages?
people are talking Spanish and English. No. Spanish and English.
That has nothing to do with machine learning, right?
Because they are making automotive, right? English, like translation jobs and all.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't see it completely replacing. Really depends on what you want to work as. Like obviously, yeah, translation and things like that are all automated now. So yeah, I mean that affects, but then that affects globally. It doesn't affect just US, right?
What will be the master options in for Europe countries, ma'am? Like GRE for Europe, right?
I won't be the right person to answer for UK because I don't know. I know more about the US.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Prabhu Surthani.
Ma'am, hope I'm audible, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, my first of all, the thing is, I am from anthropological background, ma'am. So my question is, see, if you are doing masters in foreign countries, for that matter, any country for that matter, you are valued in India. But then, if you are completed your masters in India, he or she is eligible for the job in US or any other in US, ma'am?
It's very hard, very, very hard, and very rare. Like with all the visa restrictions. For people to like, unless your company kind of sponsors an H1B, like you cannot directly find a job in the US. Like a company has to be able to sponsor you for H1B, plus you need to be you need to get selected in the H1B lottery. And they are like in the lottery, they have a special quota for people who've done masters in the US.
Okay.
So it's very rare.
Ma'am, a small query, ma'am.
Mhm.
Ma'am, can I know the status of anthropology in particular in US? Because anthropology seems to be one of the major disciplines in US. The knowledge I have suggests.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, I won't again be the right person to answer about anthropology because I am more of a computer scientist. But like you'll have to, there are other groups on Facebook. I think there's a group called MS in US. So you can post those kind of generic questions there, because this has nothing to do with being visually impaired. So you can just post these questions on Quora or, those kind of platforms.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thanks, Prabhu. Venkatesh Naik.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, hi, Aditi. Am I audible?
Yeah.
So my query is actually I am from the CS background, which deals with corporate governance and compliances,
Mm-hmm.
particular to Indian laws.
Mm-hmm.
So that I want to know that scope. Does it has a scope in United States? And I want to pursue in corporate laws and international laws and taxation in international.
So see, you really have to weigh the benefits. Say, like if you want to pursue a non-STEM degree in the US, your job opportunities are going to be very, very limited. Okay, so you
Okay.
have to weigh that maybe if you have to come back after your
Mm-hmm.
master's in whatever discipline, do you think spending that much money is going to help you? Average US masters will cost you around 50 to 70 lakhs. So
Uh-huh.
do you think that spending that much money is really going to benefit you as a professional? Because now you can take so many online courses, right? There are even
Yeah.
online masters available on MOOC platforms. So is it really worth spending so much money? Is what you
And
should weigh.
yeah, one more question I have is, does our like 10th and plus 2 score matters in GRE or
No,
for TOEFL?
no, not at all. None of your academic scores matter in your GRE and
Oh,
TOEFL.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Venkatesh.
Thank you.
Sakshi, can you unmute yourself and ask the question? Someone has raised hand with the name Galaxy J2S. I'm unmuting yourself. Can you tell me your name? Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, please tell me your name.
Hello. Hi, ma'am. I'm Payal.
Hi, Payal.
Hello, ma'am. So, ma'am, actually, I want to know that actually, I'm feeling difficulty in mathematics. So, I want to know that how I make it as a visually challenge. How can I make it understandable little bit? And as you said that geometry questions we had to solve, and how I can make it easy, ma'am, little bit.
Mathematics in terms of what? Like what are you pursuing?
No, actually, I done graduation in history honors, but when I'm giving competitive exams, so I
Right.
have to solve mathematics. So there I'm feeling difficulty, ma'am. So
So to
I want to know
you
that
can
how
use
you did.
right. So to learn, you can use all the online platforms like edX, Coursera, the MOOC platforms. I really recommend go ahead and listen to. We have like a bunch of videos on MOOCs on Radio Dance channel, and if you want, you can email me. I can send you the links of those videos. So learn about what are online courses. most of those platforms are pretty accessible with math. So try taking those MOOCs. Try learning online. So that's the most accessible way to learn math right now.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Payal. Okay, Meet wanted to ask some question, but Meet, I think he has disconnected his audio. So Meet, if you can hear me, you can write your question in the chat box, or you can mail it to me or WhatsApp it to me. I'll pass on it to Aditi. And I have few questions in the chat box, Aditi. Let me see. I think Saurav's question we have addressed. So there was only Saurav who has asked in chat box. Okay, Pankaj Thakur wanted to ask something. Pankaj and Sachin Porwal. Let me see. I think Sachin has left the session.
Hello,
Then
ma'am. Good
Pankaj.
evening.
Yeah, Meet, you ask, please.
Ma'am, I'm Meet.
Yeah.
First of all, I have interest in computer. In my BA, I have second subject as a computer elective computer subject, and I don't believe I do in computer, but my professor is very genuine and very try to afford me. You are very good in computer, like as well as normal student. So, ma'am, I want to know about that after BA. Currently, my subject is English literature, but I am not familiar with English literature. So, in computer field after BA, which field I can choose for my career?
Well, you need to, like see other options. Like I think some universities in India let you do an MCA, a Master's in Computer Applications from a non-science background. So you can go for that, and go for other courses, maybe from NIIT or EPTEC or things like that. They have some diploma programs, so you can go for those maybe.
And currently, my maths is not very much clear. So first, I have only 1 year left. So may I join some maths classes? Then after I try with MCA, it is good for me.
Yeah. Go for, like I said, there are a lot of online platforms which offer math-related courses. So go for it, take some courses, see what you are good at. There are a lot of programming courses online. You can learn everything that you want online as well. So go for that.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you for guiding me, and I hope this I got I can't get your email ID. So if I requested you to please if possible. So I need your email ID contact.
Right. So once we finish the Q&A, I'll just share my email ID. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Aditi, Akshay has asked a question. If you can send some links for non-math people to get started with maths, it would be great.
Yeah, sure. I can send some good courses to you. Yeah.
You can send the links to me, Aditi, and I'll broadcast it to the participants.
Yeah. And also, guys, we have a Facebook group called Accessible MOOCs for the Visually Impaired. I recommend all of you join there. So we can talk about different accessible MOOCs. We can share our experiences when we take online courses so everyone can benefit. It's called Accessible MOOCs for Visually Impaired. I'll share the link for that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyone, I think Deepak has question again. Deepak, please go ahead.
Hey, hi Aditi, this is Deepak here. I have a quick question. You mentioned, in US, there are certain universities are good in terms of providing all the accessibility facilities to candidate. So when we'll check on their website, what should we exactly look out on those websites? That's first question. Second bit of question is related to financial planning. If you could help us, although you spoke that there are certain scholarships and assistance, but if someone is planning and if he or she wants to chart out a plan, what all parameters he should take in consideration where he can reduce the financial burden of one's education. So if you could talk a little bit about the financial awareness, it would be really helpful for others as well.
Right. Okay. So what was your first question again?
What should we look at the parameter?
Yeah. So you basically, when you're looking at a website of a university, what you should look for is their Office of Disability Services. So every US university is required to have a department that deals with people with disabilities. Okay.
All right.
So look at what facilities they offer on the website. Plus, I would suggest call them up. You guys can use Google Hangouts to make free calls to the US from India. So if you just download the app called Hangouts Dialer, you'll be able to make free calls to the US. So call up universities, ask them questions as to, hey, I'm blind, I'm thinking about applying for this course. What kind of support will you give me? And ask your specific questions. I might have some math content. How do you deal with making math accessible and those kind of things? So yeah, look at that. Secondly, about financial planning. Say worst case, you have to pay for your tuition plus your living expenses. How you can make more money is like after doing 2 semesters, you're eligible for that 11 months of CPT, right? So you can work, like you can skip 1 semester and work for like say 3 months of internship plus 6 months of another co-op kind of a job. So you'll make some money there, and you can start paying back your loan, or you can start recovering your expenses. That's one. And obviously, like if you find a job in the US, it's pretty easy to recover what you spent in a couple of years. So that's really not a problem. I'm talking about technology jobs though. But yeah, you need some money up front. At least I would say at least have the tuition fees upfront. You can definitely find some random work to do so you can pay for your living expenses, but your tuition, like whatever is the university fees, that much money you should have when you plan.
All right. Just last question, and that's a bit of a doubt, and I don't know. I just want to clarify. Does in US we have any sort of a reservation for certain categories?
No. No,
like
they believe in giving you equal opportunity and equal access. So you'll get everything. Then it's upon you to prove yourself.
Got it. Got it. Thanks.
Yeah.
That helps. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyone else has any question? You can please ask. Keshav, you have any question? I saw you once raising hand. Keshav, do you have any question?
Hello. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Are you listening me, ma'am?
Yes.
ओके मेरा मैम क्वेश्चन ये है कि मैं पॉलिटिकल साइंस ऑनर्स का स्टूडेंट हूँ। इससे पहले मैंने 12th के बाद मतलब मैंने कंप्यूटर कोर्स भी किया था नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट फॉर द विजुअली हैंडीकैप्ड, वहाँ से इंस्टीट्यूट से देहरादून। इसके बाद मैं सो मैं अभी मेरा ये लास्ट ईयर है पॉलिटिकल साइंस ऑनर्स में। मैं शहीद भगत सिंह कॉलेज यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ दिल्ली से ये कर रहा हूँ। सो मैम मैं ये जानना चाहता हूँ कि मतलब इसके बाद में मतलब हम एजुकेशनल एरिया में हमारे लिए कोई मतलब डिफिकल्टी तो नहीं आ सकती ना मैम, क्योंकि पॉलिटिकल साइंस ऑनर्स है तो कुछ पर्सन्स का ऐसा मानना है कि अगर आप स्कूलिंग में टीचिंग के लिए अप्लाई करते हैं तो ऐसे केस में क्या बोलते हैं आपको इश्यूज आ सकते हैं, क्योंकि आपके पास पॉलिटिकल साइंस ऑनर्स की डिग्री है। सो मैम
मैंने कभी टीचिंग की नहीं है, तो again I won't be the right person to answer this. I can connect you to one of my friends who's done I think a degree in political science from JNU, and he was working as a professor somewhere, so I can connect you to him if you want. So please email me. I can connect you to someone. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Keshav. Anyone else has any question, please go ahead.
Hi, ma'am. This is Manish.
Aditi?
Yeah. Hello.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kishore here. So, Aditi.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you was talking about Mahesh Panikkar, sir. He was blind and he did his masters and PhD from
No,
GNU.
no. It's
Mahesh.
another friend of mine.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell me the name? Hello.
He's called Satyender Singh.
Aditi?
Satyender Singh.
Okay, Satyen.
Yeah.
But still he is working as a
I don't think he's working any longer.
I think
was
he got
working- Yeah. Now he got the UPSC, so he's gonna be an
Okay,
IAS.
thanks, Kishore.
yeah,
So
exactly.
that's a different question, Kishore. Let's answer questions related to the topic.
Yeah, ma'am. Hi, this is Manish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Manish.
just wanted to understand, like for people who are already working in India, like for working professionals who have done their MBAs and who are already working in different companies. So what sort of is there any PhD program which we can enroll from our like current job? First thing, and like there are certain programs which ask you to submit the research proposal first, and maybe you can follow up, maybe you can carry on your research at your respective places, and on the final semester you can come and present your research. So like I
Yeah.
just wanted to understand, are there any programs in US which we can pursue in, and maybe we can carry on our jobs here and also at the same time can
So
enroll
I
in.
don't know about any total remote PhD programs. I think there's something called Open University which started having something like that. But apart from that, I don't know of any remote PhD programs. I know there are a lot of master's programs being offered online now,
Right.
MBAs and stuff, but I'm not sure if there are any totally remote PhD programs.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Hi, ma'am. I'm Krishna.
Yeah. Hi.
My voice is audible, ma'am.
Yes.
I have one question. We fill any competitive exam form. Ma'am, we don't solve any CAPTCHA and we don't put our photos. How can we solve this problem, ma'am?
I didn't understand your question. So you saying like to fill the form you need to like, is there a CAPTCHA that you need to solve to fill the form?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
you can just do if you use a phone, you can just put the Be My Eyes app on it and just use that to solve the CAPTCHA. Just Be My Eyes is kind of an app which lets you have sighted assistance through your phone's camera through video, and they can read out the CAPTCHA for you.
Can you spell out the name?
The app name?
Yeah.
It's called Be My Eyes. So it's BEB, then My MY, and then Eyes EYES.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Anyone else has any question, please ask quickly. I think Deepak, your question has been addressed. Deepak Dhokale. Sakshi is not able to unmute herself. Even I am not able to do it from my side. So anyone else has any question, please go ahead.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Now I'm audible.
Yes.
Yeah, you are.
हाँ यस यस मैम मैं दीपक बात कर रहा हूँ मतलब मैंने पिछले साल बात किया आप वो थोड़ा इंटरनेट की कंडीशन के बारे में सो मैम आपने इक्वल अपॉर्चुनिटी के बारे में कहा सो देयर इज स्ट्रिक्टली फॉलो की जाती है क्या इक्वल बिकॉज इन नाउ आई एम इन इंडिया अगर बहुत कंपनी के वेबसाइट पे यहाँ लिखा होता है इक्वल अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉलो की जाती है मेरे साथ एक ऐसा रीजन हुआ है कि जो अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉलो नहीं की गई जो इस कंपनी का नाम नहीं होगा बट दिस इज मतलब ये हुआ है सो देयर स्ट्रिक्टली फॉलो की जाती है क्या इन यूएस इक्वल अपॉर्चुनिटी
देखिए आपको इस वजह से मना नहीं किया जाएगा कि आप नहीं देख सकते लाइक मेरे साथ ऐसा हुआ था इंडिया में कि मुझे काफी जगह पे मना किया गया था कि बिकॉज मैं नहीं देख सकती मैं एज अ सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर नहीं ज्वाइन कर सकती
मेरे साथ भी ऐसा ही हुआ है
हाँ यहाँ पे मुंह पे तो नहीं बोलेंगे कि आपको नहीं दिखता है इसलिए हम आपको नहीं रखेंगे बट हाँ वो फिर इट रियली डिपेंड्स पर्सन टू पर्सन आपके जो HR पर्सन जो आपका इंटरव्यू ले रहे हैं या जो रिक्रूटर्स आपका इंटरव्यू ले रहे हैं उनका क्या परसेप्शन है क्या वो आपकी एप्लीकेशन आगे बढ़ाते हैं बट जस्ट बिकॉज यू आर ब्लाइंड आपको इंटरव्यू डिनाई नहीं किया जाएगा
हाँ नहीं हाँ यस यस मैम ऐसा ही हुआ है क्योंकि मेरा एप्लीकेशन HR के पास पहुंच ही नहीं रहा था मतलब पहुंचा नहीं दिया गया सो मेरी एग्जाम इसलिए तो कंपनी की जो एग्जाम थी जो मैं एलिजिबल भी था सो मैं वहाँ के लिए मेरे एग्जाम मतलब मैं नहीं दे सका सो दिस इज माय ग्रेजुएशन मतलब मेरा लास्ट ईयर था ग्रेजुएशन का सो आफ्टर मुझे कोई जॉब नहीं मिला तो कुछ इसलिए सो मैंने मास्टर के लिए अप्लाई किया कंप्यूटर एप्लीकेशन के लिए इन राइट नाउ आई एम डूइंग मास्टर कंप्यूटर एप्लीकेशन पुणे यूनिवर्सिटी सो दिस टाइप ऑफ so my question
I would still say try a little harder to find a job you can always find a good job in India I had a great job in India
yes
I was doing very well in my job in India so it's really not about if you knock 100 doors there'll be at least one which will agree to give you an opportunity and then it's upon you to work hard and prove yourself
हाँ yes क्योंकि मैम मुझे ऐसा लगा क्योंकि अगर मैं इंटरव्यू में फेल हो जाता तो इट इज माय मतलब ये मेरी गलती थी बट सो मुझे ऐसा है क्या तो इट इज थोड़ा सा मुझे बैड तो लगा बट it's okay na fine
yeah it's okay it happened to me as well like when I went for interviews after my undergraduate in India I was not allowed for a single interview like not a single interview abhi to there are a lot of companies like Microsoft Google etc are all hiring people with disabilities in India they all have so much of diversity hiring so I would suggest apply for bigger companies
yes.
so you have a higher chances of getting in through the diversity hiring as well
and ma'am how to apply job for after the master
I mean go to LinkedIn go to LinkedIn apply for jobs through LinkedIn
yes
Naukri.com yeah Naukri.com
but ma'am there is a misuse on data for people with Naukri.com and
which is fine
on Naukri.com LinkedIn no but yes,
which is fine I mean
yes this is fine
you're not revealing any credit card numbers on your resume right so it's okay
yeah okay. Thank you ma'am
ma'am Meet I have again one question if we do MCA through Google Microsoft like giant company how can they approach
so you can always apply for the jobs online like Google is one of the companies which gives interviews to everyone who applies regardless of even if you don't have a degree for computer science positions so basically you need skills I would like reiterate you need skills more than you need degree right now in computer science.
And another course,
This is
another course of
Mustafaddin again. Can I ask the question?
One sec. Yeah, Meet, continue.
I I want to know about that any optional course of MCA. If even I don't apply in MCA, so any optional course you have?
What have you done your undergrad in?
English literature. Currently, I'm doing.
I guess I don't know. So different universities have different options. You'll have to check. Like, there are some open universities like IGNU which are more flexible. So you'll have to see.
Okay, ma'am. Thank
Okay,
you.
thanks, Meet. Next, Chirag wants to ask something. Chirag,
Yeah.
please go ahead, Chirag.
मैम चिराग है, ये पूछ रहा था मैम, जैसे मान लो हमारे डिग्रीज ना हो, कोर्सेज के बेस पे भी हम लोग जो है माइक्रोसॉफ्ट गूगल जैसी कंपनीज में अप्लाई कर सकते हैं, कोई प्रॉब्लम वगैरह तो नहीं फेस करनी पड़ती अगर हमारी स्किल्स बहुत अच्छे हैं तो?
या स्किल्स अगर अच्छे हैं एंड इफ यू कैन गेट अ इंटरव्यू, लाइक अगर आप किसी को जानते हो जो माइक्रोसॉफ्ट में काम कर रहा है फॉर इंस्टेंस, और वो आपको रेफर कर दे, एंड देन if you can crack the interview, because the interviews are very hard. Like Google interview for a programmer position, like a software engineer position, has 6 rounds, 6 coding rounds. So the interviews are pretty difficult to crack. So if you have the right skills, you'll make it.
ओके और मैम एक क्वेश्चन और है मेरा, तो जैसे मान लो मैम, अगर मान लो यहाँ पे हमने कोर्सेज किए हैं और फर्दर हम जो है अप्लाई करना चाहते हैं यूएस में जॉब्स के लिए, तो हमारे को प्रॉब्लम्स फेस करनी पड़ सकती है या नहीं, कोई ज्यादा दिक्कत नहीं आएगी डायरेक्ट जॉब के लिए?
आप यूएस में नहीं अप्लाई कर सकते हो, मैं गूगल माइक्रोसॉफ्ट इंडिया की बात कर रही थी। आप यूएस में डायरेक्टली जॉब अप्लाई नहीं कर सकते हो, बहुत रेयर चांसेस है। अगर आप गूगल इंडिया के लिए काम कर रहे हो और गूगल इंडिया डिसाइड करता है कि आपको यूएस भेजना है, तो वो आपका वीजा अप्लाई करेगा और आप आ सकते हो। बाकी डायरेक्टली अपने आप से आप नहीं आ सकते हो अनलेस कि आपकी कंपनी आपको यूएस भेजे।
Okay,
thank you so much, ma'am.
Thanks, Chirag. Syed, you ask your question, please. Syed, please go ahead.
Hello, ma'am. This is Mustafaddin, ma'am. Actually, as you said, there is a need of 16 years of education to do a job or to study in US. Is it the same in all over the world or only for US?
I know about US. I don't know about the other countries, but I think most places for a MS degree it will be the same.
मैंने हर चीज में आगे रहती है.
Okay. So after pursuing masters in India, that means for 16 years of education, if we pursue masters in India, so it will become 17, and then after we go to US also, there also we should pursue masters again, right? After
You
pursuing
can
masters,
do masters,
we should go
you
in
can
search of
apply
job,
for
right?
PhD. It depends on what you want to do. Plus, you can also take a transfer. Like I had a friend who did that. So he did 1 year of MSc with me when I was doing my MSc, and then he just transferred to a US university. So you can even do that.
And what about sponsorship, ma'am? Actually, so education loans are, interests are getting decreased in India. And apart from education loans, what kind of scholarship we can get, or what kind of sponsorship we can seek from the international universities or the different agencies in India which works especially on the scholarships, ma'am? So what kind of scholarship do we see?
There are some scholarships that Government of India gives, but again, that's not like fully funded. There are some scholarships which companies give, like say you are working for TCS. So TCS will fund your masters, and then you have to come back and work for TCS for a few years. Otherwise, in terms of universities, you have, like I said, for a master's program, you can either work as a graduate research assistant or a graduate teaching assistant. So that kind of waives off your fees. Or you can kind of get a need-based financial aid, but it is very rare that they give it to students pursuing masters and
Yeah,
especially
ma'am.
international students.
Yeah, ma'am. Just now you talked about the transfer system and how it works, ma'am. That means from India to US, how can a person transfer his course in MS?
So transfer means it doesn't mean you can directly just start with the second year of masters. You still have to cover your master's requirements. It's just that you don't need to complete your MS degree in India before applying to US. If you've done like 1 year of masters, you finish the
Yeah,
16
got it,
years of
got it, got it.
education and you directly get, but you still have to fulfill whatever credit requirements are there. Sometimes people get waivers if you have done like some course in a university in India and it's a very well-known university, like if you've done it from IIT or something like that, and the
Yeah,
university
ma'am.
might
Another
accept.
last question is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another question is regarding GRE, TOEFL, and IELTS. Can you suggest popular books which is available on Bookshare or Sugamya Pustakalay?
So for GRE, Manhattan Prep is available on Bookshare. For TOEFL,
Okay.
I did the edX course, TOEFL preparation.
Okay.
And IELTS I haven't given, but I can definitely connect you to some friends who've done that. Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
thanks, Sayed. We will take last 1 or 2 questions. If anyone has any question, please go ahead. I think that's all, Aditi.
Cool. So thank you for being such a
Okay,
live
so
audience.
we'll wind up this session. Thank you all the participants. Thanks a lot, Aditi.
Yeah.
If till
My
anyone,
email ID, if everyone wants to note down, is Shah, SHAH, Aditi, ADITI, 1992@gmail.com.
okay, thanks, Aditi. Bye,
Cool.
everybody.
Bye. Thank
Bye,
you.
bye.